Hello again. This is David Lloyd, Scientific Advisor at Infinitus, and today I will be discussing with you the primary characteristics of traditional Chinese medicine. Traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM, and its historical and classical counterparts represent thousands of years worth of accumulated medical knowledge. One of the key principles of traditional Chinese medicine is that energy, also known as qi, flows inside of the body along channels known as jing luo, or meridians. When the energy inside of our bodies is balanced, we are healthy. When it is imbalanced, disease and illness sets in. What causes our internal energy to become imbalanced and allow disease and illness to set in? In traditional Chinese medicine, there are three main factors that cause our energy to become imbalanced: external factors, internal factors, and lifestyle factors. External factors include things like infection and harsh climates like wind and cold. Internal factors include things like excessive emotional stress and organ dysfunction. And lifestyle factors include things like poor sleep, poor diet, and a lack of exercise and movement. So what are the core characteristics of traditional Chinese medicine? Traditional Chinese medicine is based on the concept of holism. Holism does not refer strictly to the idea that it is natural. Holism means that when a traditional Chinese medicine diagnosis is made, it takes multiple symptoms to figure out what an underlying problem is. In traditional Chinese medicine, we refer to this as branch and root. So in order to figure out what a root problem is, first you have to identify all of the different branches to help you locate where the root is. For example, poor circulation can lead to very specific types of pain, like stabbing pain, as opposed to a throbbing pain, which might be caused by qi stagnation. So when traditional Chinese medicine makes a diagnosis, it's done based off differentiation of symptoms. So it's not just, oh, I have a headache, I will take this pill. The goal with traditional Chinese medicine is to treat the root of the problem as opposed to just the individual symptoms. So traditional Chinese medicine treats syndromes and not symptoms. Syndromes are collections of symptoms that help you identify what a root problem is. Along with that, when it comes to herbal medicine, comes the idea of making complex formulas, because we're not just treating one thing at a time. A well-designed Chinese herbal formula will include various herbs that promote certain aspects of a formula, while also preventing certain types of side effects. That's how a traditional Chinese herbal formula is made. So what contrasts traditional Chinese medicine from what people think of as Western medicine? Well, on those main points that we discussed with traditional Chinese medicine, where we talked about holism and looking at multiple symptoms per appointment and dealing with complex formulas that are balanced and trying to achieve harmony, what Western medicine does really well is be very specific. So on those same topics, you're covering just a different set of bases. Not one better than the other, but they're just different from each other, and they both have their benefits, and they both can harmonize really well with each other. So where traditional Chinese medicine differs from Western medicine is that Western medicine has a tendency to be very specific. So it's not holistic in nature. It's very specific. So when you go to an appointment to see your average Western doctor, what they'll do is they'll focus on one symptom per appointment, and they will use medication that's used to address one symptom at a time. And so what happens is the specific nature of Western science is very, very powerful. It comes with some drawbacks, because with that power also comes certain types of side effects, and only having the ability to treat one symptom at a time. But integration can work really, really well, where certain types of Western medications, when combined and harmonized with proper guidance under a traditional Chinese medical doctor, can get a better result by combining both the specificity of Western science and the holism of traditional Chinese medicine. Now, one of the other things that's really neat when it comes to companies like Infinitus is that they harmonize the research capacity to study things like the polysaccharides that are found in certain types of Chinese herbs. And they will study them, the traditional Chinese herb, with the specificity of Western science to create a better outcome. So as I said before, they're not necessarily better or worse, they both have benefits. And harmonizing and working and integrating together has the tendency to create a much better outcome when it comes to the manufacturing of Chinese herbs and also their application for patients in healthcare. When it comes to talking about the popularity of traditional Chinese medicine outside of China, I feel very unique in my ability to talk about this, because I've run a clinic for 20 years and I've dealt with patients one-on-one for 20 years, and I absolutely adore my job. And I've watched the industry grow tremendously over the last couple of decades in the West. A lot of people are very interested in traditional Chinese medicine, especially as the manufacturing capacities of traditional Chinese herbs have gotten better and better and better over the years. People feel a lot more comfortable dealing with Chinese herbs now than they ever have before. And I can attest to that, because I've been doing this job with thousands of patients over 2 decades now. So I'm very comfortable talking about this. And I can tell you that the popularity of traditional Chinese medicine is growing by leaps and bounds every year. Just to discuss some specific numbers, there is lots of market research that's been done. For example, there's a company, and they estimated Chinese herbal medicine to be worth around $45 billion per year, and that there had been a 10.6% growth in the marketplace between 2014 and 2019. So that's a lot of growth, and that's a lot of money. There's a lot of great things that are happening as well on the scientific front, where traditional Chinese medicine has, for example, won the Nobel Prize recently for research that was done on treating malaria. And the neat aspect of that was, again, it was a traditional Chinese herb that was studied using modern Western science, and then it was improved using different manufacturing techniques to increase specific active ingredients to get a better result. And that won the Nobel Prize in medicine. So traditional Chinese medicine has been growing by leaps and bounds over the last 2 decades, and I would imagine that that's going to continue to be an area of great success, both in the financial markets, but also in the idea of being able to help and treat people for various types of illnesses, and as well to help promote better health and better immune function and more vitality and energy and just a better life. But I've said this before to you in videos, that the foundation of an excellent life is excellent health. The foundation of a great life is sound health. And anything that helps promote that is a benefit to people, and that value is worth a lot. So in conclusion, traditional Chinese medicine has its own set of core characteristics. They generally revolve around holism, Western medicine has a tendency to be very specific and have a very narrow focus. They're both beneficial. And when you take the practices of Western medicine and apply them to Chinese medicine, you get a much higher quality product and you get much higher quality manufacturing. And it becomes the best of both worlds. So from me to you, it's David Lloyd, Scientific Advisor at Infinitus, and I hope that this message finds you having an absolutely wonderful day or evening. Thank you very much for your time.